Hi guys, welcome to the week 7 spiral corrections. Make sure you're making full corrections for anything that you missed, not just putting the right answer. Monday, a recipe for snack mix calls for 4 3/4 cups of cereal. The amount of peanuts needed is 1 2/3 cups less than the amount of cereal needed. Complete each box below to make a true statement. So the first thing you're going to enter, the recipe calls for blank cups of peanuts. So choose your answer. Next part, a total of blank cups of peanuts and cereal are needed in all. Okay, so some important information is that it calls for 4 3/4 cups of cereal, and the amount of peanuts is 1 2/3 cups less than the amount of cereal needed. So for my first part, the keywords that tell me what I'm going to do with 4 3/4 and 2/3 is less than. That means to subtract. So you can't subtract until you have a common denominator. So the LCD of 4 and 3 is 12. I adjusted my numerators and subtracted and got 3 and 1/12. So the second part, a total of blank cups of peanuts and cereal are needed in all. So I took the 4 3/4, which is the cereal, and then the 3 and 1/12, which I just found out how much peanuts that was. And then I had a common denominator, it's 12. And then I added my numerators because in all tells me to add. And then I got 7 and 10/12, which reduces to 7 and 5/6. Tuesday, the table shows the number of teaspoons of vanilla needed to make different batches of cookies. Select one box from each row to describe how to find the number of teaspoons of vanilla needed to make n batches of cookies. So when this first one pops up, you're going to select the correct combination. So a word from row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4. So this is what you're looking at, and you want to find the pattern of what is happening between the number of batches and the number of vanilla. So we want to kind of come up with a rule to figure out where we could substitute any number of batches to find out how much vanilla we would need. So enter the correct combination first. Part 2, how many teaspoons of vanilla are needed to make 6 1/2 batches? Okay, so first thing I did is I kind of was looking at what happened. I took the number of batches and multiplied it by 1/4 because I'm noticing that each time it increases by 1/4. And so 1 times 1/4 is 1/4. Then I took 2 batches times 1/4, 3 batches, 4 batches, 5 batches. So what you want to do is you want to multiply the number of batches by 1/4. And so if I'm going to use that, that means I just need to find out how many tablespoons are in 6 1/2 batches of cookies. I did 6 1/2 batches times 1/4, which comes out to 1 5/8 teaspoons. Wednesday, Morgan drove from Los Angeles at an elevation of 330 feet to Death Valley at an elevation of negative 282 feet. What is the difference in elevation between Los Angeles and Death Valley? So a helpful hint, you might want to draw a picture to help you visualize this and notice keyword difference and pay attention to your signs. So difference means to subtract. So I took 330 and I subtracted the elevation of Death Valley, which is not just 282 feet, it's negative 282. Then I did keep, flip, change, and I'm ending up adding, and where I get 612 feet. And then I drew myself a little picture to help me visualize it. Thursday, part A. Yesterday, Pablo had 4 4/9 quarts of iced tea, and Rosa had 3 5/12 quarts of iced tea. So part A, how much more iced tea did Pablo have than Rosa? Enter your answer. Part B, Pablo gave Rosa 1/6 of his iced tea today. How much iced tea do each of them have now? You'll choose the one that has the correct amount for Pablo and for Rosa. Okay, so as I was looking through this, I saw on my spiral paper I made a mistake. So I just wrote each part on a different piece of paper. So for part A, when it says how much more iced tea did Pablo have than Rosa, that is right here. And how much more means to subtract. And so I did 4 4/9 minus 3 5/12, got my common denominator, subtracted, and the difference is 1 1/36 quarts. Now for part B, it says Pablo gave Rosa 1/4 of his sorry, 1/6 of his iced tea today. So how much iced tea do each of them have now? So over here in part B, notice I first did 4 4/9 times 1/6, because when he's giving 1/6 of it away, we multiply. So I found out he's giving away 1 1/9 of his iced tea. So I took his 4 4/9 minus 1 1/9, had the same denominator. I got 3 3/9, which is 3 1/3 quarts. So since he's giving it away, I subtracted. But with Rosa, I took her 3 5/12 and I added the 1 1/9 that he is giving, and I did my common denominator of 36, adjusted my numerators and added, and got 4 19/36 quarts. Turn the page, make sure you have the following in front of you, and also make sure you're making full corrections, not just the right answer. Number 1, here is a triangle in which we know the length of 2 of the sides, 7.4 centimeters and 10 42/100 centimeters. Its perimeter measures 29 3/10 centimeters. What is the length of the third side? So we know the perimeter, we know 2 of the sides, we want to know what the third side is. So I know that perimeter is side plus side plus side for a triangle. I'm given the perimeter of 29 3/10, and then I know that I'm going to add 2 of the sides, and the remaining side is what I'm looking for. So I added the 2 sides that I knew, which is 7.4 and 10.42, and then I subtracted that from the perimeter. So what's left over is 11 48/100 centimeters, which is the third side. Number 2, Austin has a square pool that measures 6 meters on each side. The pool is surrounded by a cement border that measures 0.5 meters. What is the area of the cement border, not including the pool, of course? Pay attention to this hint. The hint tells you exactly what you're supposed to do to find the area of just the cement border. Okay, so first, hint said find the area consisting of the pool and the cement border, which is 6 meters. So over here I did side times side, 6 times 6, 36 meters squared with the border. Then I subtracted, I want to subtract the, then I subtracted the area of the pool alone. So I found with the pool alone, if I took away that 0.5 border, it would be 5.5 times 5.5, which is 30 25/100 meters squared. And so down here I subtracted the part without the border from with the border and got 5 75/100 meters squared. Number 3, this figure is made by placing a triangle with a height of 3 inches on the small side of a rectangle that measures 6 inches by 17 inches. What is the area of this figure? My hint is to label the figure with the measurements and go from there. So I have a rectangle and a triangle. So first the rectangle is length times width, 17 times 6, which is 102. And then the triangle is base times height divided by 2. So that's 6 times 3 divided by 2, which gives you 9. Last part, you want to add the 2 together, and I got 111 square inches. Number 4, a large square table with a perimeter of 787 centimeters is made up of 4 small square tables. If I take away one of the small tables, what will be the perimeter of my new table? So you're going to take away one of the tiles. In my example, when I do the work, I took this out, and I want to know what the perimeter is. So we're given the perimeter originally, and we know that it's a square table made up of 4 small square tables. All right, so first I started perimeter is side times 4. So if I divide 787 by 4, that means that my sides, they're going to be 196.75. So again, I'm taking out this guy right here. So these two sides, complete sides here, are going to be 196.75, 196.75. And then I only want half of this, half of that, half of this, half of that. So I took 196.75 and divided by 2 and got 98 and 375 hundredths. So once I've labeled all my sides, I have 2 that are 196 and 75 hundredths, and I have 4 that are 98 and 375 thousandths. I multiplied and then added together, and actually just by taking out that square, you're not going to change the perimeter. It's still going to be 787 centimeters. Okay, and this marks the end of your spiral. Make sure that you turn in your corrections to your teacher, and I will see you guys next week, same place. Bye.